Denny Hamlin did not just win at Michigan, but what happened after the checkered flag was something nobody expected. He grabbed a black flag with the number 18 on it and waved it during his burnout. Not for himself, for someone else. And when you find out why, and what that win actually means for Hamlin's career, you will understand why this moment hit differently than any other win this season. Let's go back to Sunday at Michigan International Speedway. Denny Hamlin crossed the finish line first. That alone is a big deal. Michigan is not a track where Hamlin has historically run away from the field. This was a statement race, but nobody was talking about the race itself for long. Because right after the checkered flag dropped, Hamlin reached into his car and pulled out a black flag. On it was the number 18, Kyle Busch's number, his former Joe Gibbs Racing teammate, his longtime rival, his longtime friend, and Hamlin waved that flag during his burnout, in front of the whole crowd, in front of the whole sport. That is not something drivers do by accident. That flag did not appear in the car on its own. Hamlin planned that. He thought about Kyle Busch before the race even started. He brought that flag with him knowing he might win. And when he did win, he made sure the whole world saw it. Now here is where it gets interesting. Hamlin's win was his 63rd career Cup Series victory, and that number is bigger than it looks. With 63 wins, Hamlin is now tied with Kyle Busch for 9th on NASCAR's all-time Cup wins list. Two of the fiercest drivers of this era now stand side by side in the history. Think about what that means for a second. Hamlin and Busch spent years racing each other every single week. They won championships with the same organization. They pushed each other to be better. And now, in a moment that had nothing to do with Busch on the track, Hamlin used his own win to lift his former teammate's name. That flag was not just a gesture. That was Hamlin telling the sport that Kyle Busch belongs in the conversation of the all-time greats, and he did it while tying him on the list. But wait, there is more to this story. After the race, Hamlin spoke about Busch directly. He called him a major influence. He pointed to their years together at JGR as a defining part of his career. Hamlin said that racing alongside someone like Kyle Busch made him sharper, made him better. That is a serious thing for one elite driver to say about another. These two did not always agree on everything during their time as teammates, but respect was always there, and now that respect is on the record, tied to a win, tied to a tribute nobody saw coming. Now here is the part that makes this moment even bigger. Kyle Busch has not had an easy run recently. After he left Joe Gibbs Racing and moved to Richard Childress Racing, his results have not matched the level he set for most of his career. He went from one of the most feared drivers in NASCAR to someone fighting for relevance on a week-to-week basis. The wins dried up. The dominant performances that defined him at JGR became rare. NASCAR fans who grew up watching Busch terrorize the field started wondering if that version of him was gone for good. So when Hamlin wins a race and ties him at 63 and then waves his number on a flag during the burnout, that is Hamlin saying something very specific. He is saying Kyle Busch's legacy is not defined by what is happening right now. It is defined by what he built, and 63 Cup wins is what he built. That is a statement with real weight. Now let's talk about where Hamlin himself stands in this conversation, because that is where this gets really serious. Denny Hamlin has never won a Cup championship. He has won the Daytona 500 3 times. He has wins across almost every type of track on the schedule. He has competed at the highest level for nearly 2 decades, and he still does not have a title. That debate does not go away. But 63 wins puts him in the same sentence as some of the most decorated drivers in NASCAR history. 9th all-time is not a soft stat. The drivers above him on that list include names that defined entire eras of this sport. And here is what Hamlin understands that a lot of people miss. Wins matter even when championships don't come. Legacy is built on the full body of work. He is building his, race by race, win by win. The Michigan victory was not a championship, but it was the kind of win that changes how people see a career, especially when you tie your former teammate on the all-time list and honor him with a flag during your burnout. That is a rare combination of skill and character in the same moment. Now remember that flag. The black number 18 waving at Michigan. That image is the whole story in one picture. Hamlin did not need to do that. He could have done a regular burnout, waved to the crowd, gone to victory lane, done his interview. Nobody would have questioned it. He won the race. That is enough. But he chose to make that win about more than himself. He chose to bring Busch into the moment. And in doing that, he gave the whole sport something to remember. 2 teammates, same organization for years, same number on the all-time wins list now, and a tribute during a burnout that nobody planned except the man driving the car. That is the story of Michigan. That is the moment. And it raises one question that nobody in NASCAR can fully answer yet. How many more wins does Denny Hamlin have left in him? Because if he is capable of moments like this, physically and mentally, 9th all-time might not be where this ends. And when that day comes, whenever that next win arrives, remember where this one started, at Michigan, with a black flag, number 18. And that is why this win feels different, because NASCAR has seen plenty of burnouts. It has seen flags, smoke, celebrations, and emotional radio calls. But this was not just another post-race moment. This was one driver using his own victory to remind everyone of another driver's place in history. That matters. Kyle Busch's story is not finished. Denny Hamlin's story is not finished either. But for one afternoon at Michigan, their stories crossed again in a way nobody expected. Not through contact on the track, not through a heated battle for the lead, not through a rivalry moment that made headlines for the wrong reason. This time, it was respect. And that is what made it powerful. For years, Hamlin and Busch were 2 of the hardest drivers to beat in the garage. They were not soft. They were not quiet. They were not easy teammates. Both wanted the same thing every single week. They wanted to win. They wanted control. They wanted the spotlight. That kind of fire can create tension. But it can also create greatness. And that is exactly what happened. They pushed each other. They measured themselves against each other. They raised the standard inside Joe Gibbs Racing. So when Hamlin waved that number 18 flag, it was not just about friendship. It was about everything they survived together. The wins, the arguments, the pressure, the near misses, the years when they both carried the weight of being elite. That is why fans reacted so strongly, because sports moves fast. One bad season and people start forgetting what a driver used to be. One slump and the conversation changes. One winless stretch, and suddenly a legend gets treated like he is already gone. Hamlin did not let that happen. He used Michigan to remind everyone that Kyle Busch is still Kyle Busch. A driver with a career most racers would dream of. A driver who changed races just by being in them. A driver who made enemies, made fans, won everything, and never made the sport boring. And at the same time, Hamlin reminded everyone of something else. He is still here too, still winning.